Hello, viewers from around the world. I'm Kristen Schwartz, licensed midwife and MC here at Gold Learning. And here at Gold, we are very busy getting ready for our Tongue Tie Symposium 2025. And with me here is Molly Peterson. Hi, Molly.
Hi, so nice to see you.
So nice to see you too. You are, of course, one of our presenters, and you have a great presentation planned for us for the symposium titled Supporting Families with Oral Restrictions, Creating Realistic Timelines and Expectations. I think that's a fantastic title. I want to talk to you about this as well. But before we go there, just tell me a little bit about yourself and your professional background.
Like you said, my name is Molly. I am an international board certified lactation consultant. I've been an IBCLC for almost 10 years now, which feels like insane that it's been so long. I primarily work in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I own a practice with my business partner, Ashley, called Wisco Lactation. So we support families kind of in the greater southeastern Wisconsin area. We've got offices kind of spread out all over the place. I feel very fortunate to work in private practice and be able to support families kind of in all walks of their journey, whether it's prenatally or weaning or starting solids. So I feel very lucky to be able to do that. My background is I have a bachelor's degree in speech pathology, which I think really helps with a lot of this tongue tie stuff and like being able to, really kind of nerd out on all the oral function stuff. I really do love continuing education and I love gold, and I feel so fortunate to be able to share my experience as a presentation.
Oh, wonderful. And we love having you here at Gold. I absolutely love your title there. The title of your presentation is Supporting Families with Oral Restrictions, Creating Realistic Timelines and Expectations, right? So I feel like it comes down to, and I think you will be talking about this a lot, and you share, I know I had a little sneak peek of your slides. You share some case studies and such. It comes down to also communication, right? I mean, these parents come with their little ones to you. They're already pretty much, something is going on. Maybe not feeding is not going right. Obviously, there is some kind of restriction. And, they're coming to you for some kind of solution. So, how do you, what is your first go to with regards to communication? What are some maybe little tips you can give us here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing is always making sure you're meeting that particular family where that particular family is. We can't kind of pigeonhole people into a box and, oh, you have to do this, and then you have to do this, and then you have to do this. My first question is always, what are your goals? How do you want to feed your baby? How can I help you feel successful in those goals? And then kind of trying to figure out a game plan from there. So if we, see like maybe oral function just isn't what it needs to be, and we're kind of thinking there maybe is a tongue tie, we're going to work together with that family, maybe with a body worker, to try to see where we can get that baby functioning. Then if we're still really struggling and we need to go the route of a, frenectomy, we can, but always making sure that the parents are involved in every step of the care, making those decisions for themselves and for their baby.
Wonderful. So I love how you said meeting them where they are. And sometimes that can be also difficult, right? I mean, if you see a situation where you personally would say, like, you know what, I think honestly, a frenectomy would be probably the most beneficial here. But, some parents might say, like, this is not for us. We don't want to do this. We want to try to do everything else first. How do you work with them then?
Yeah, absolutely. It is their job to decide, and I'm going to give them all of the information and let them make that informed choice for themselves and for their baby. So I love kind of outlining all of the options, A, B, C, D, however many letters we need to go until we find the game plan that works best for them. But then always telling them we can update this, we can change this, we can make it work for you. I think mental health is so, so, so important, and making sure, like, if a family is saying, hey, we're just not into this, I don't think I'm going to do any sort of frenectomy or do the release. Okay, great. Let's find other ways to successfully feed your baby.
Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about expectations. Many people or, families, I mean, right now with the internet, there's so much information on tongue ties, right? Available, readily available. Or they hear from their friends, you know what, my baby also had a tongue tie, just get it released. And feeding is like, no, it's wonderful. And we all know it's not always the case, right? So, how do you work with expectations with the families?
Yeah, I'm always kind of like setting things up really, really early. Let's check this oral function. Let's see if their tongue is able to cup. Well, not super great. So let's do these oral exercises or let's do some body work to try to, meet them in the middle a little bit or give them a little bit more function. And then if that doesn't work, then we can have the conversation about kind of next steps. And what are those next steps? Let's talk about the frenectomy process. Let's talk about the aftercare because I find a lot of families are not prepared for what comes after the release and expecting it to be immediately better or expecting it to be kind of easy breezy when in reality a lot of times like maybe those cases where we do the frenectomy and that baby latches perfectly and the latch changes. I love when that happens, but the reality is that's not the case often. They really need to relearn how to use their tongue, how to use, all of those parts of their mouth that they need. So kind of telling the parents and setting them up like, this is what may be happening the first couple days. I'm going to see you day one. We're going to check out things, see how you're doing. Then I'll see you again in a couple days and we'll kind of like keep inching our way towards their goals.
Absolutely. Can you share maybe an example where where adjusting expectations and timelines made a significant difference for a family, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a client recently where this was her fourth baby. Her three other kids were tongue tied. She knew coming in that this baby was probably going to be tongue tied and was adamant that like she was going to have this release done and it was going to fix all of her problems. Her baby had a pretty traumatic birth. It was a VBAC that turned into an emergency C-section that they also needed a vacuum to help get this little guy out. And so he just had a lot of body tension that was really making it hard for him to eat. And I know she desperately wanted to get that release done that day if we could, but we were able to kind of talk to her about just maybe waiting a couple days so that way we can try to get this baby in a more comfortable spot. And the analogy I always use with families is, if you go have your knee replaced, you typically do physical therapy first. Like, let's get that body, that leg really, really strong. And it's the same thing with these frenectomies. We want to make sure that that body is in a solid place before we go in and take away some of these compensations. So she did. She waited, a couple days. We got the baby adjusted a few times, and then we were able to get that frenectomy, and that really, really helped with positive outcomes. So of course I would have supported her if she was like, nope,
Yeah.
let's do the release. But just by
Right.
adjusting those expectations a little bit and saying, hey, let's get some body work, it really, really made sure things went smoothly.
And it's all about, again, communication, right? And information, because the parent necessarily might not, yes, the birth was very traumatic for the mother as well, still healing herself, most likely, and sometimes maybe not know all that is, can implement or can have an impact on feeding, right? So having all that information in place, able to make an informed decision, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we're all about, letting them make the choices. We're going to present the options and then support you no matter what.
Absolutely. It's been lovely having you here today, Amalia, and I can't wait for your presentation. But before I let you go, one last question here for you. What are you hoping to that our viewers will take away after watching your presentation?
Yeah, I really hope that, the takeaway is language. Like, how do we have these conversations with families? How do we make sure we're setting these families up for success? Maybe you're in a practice that, you've been seeing babies pre and post release for years, but just able to take away just some different tweaks or changes that might just make things that much better. Or maybe, you're really new into the tongue tie world and just trying to get your feet wet and being able to kind of set people up for just what we find has been really successful outcomes.
Great. So there's something for everyone, no matter what skill level or how long in practice. Absolutely love that. Well, Molly, it's been great chatting with you. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait for your live presentation at the Tongue Tie Symposium.
Thank you. I'm so excited too. We'll see you guys soon.
And some information now for our viewers. This presentation, Supporting Families with Oral Restrictions, Creating Realistic Timelines and Expectations, is, as I mentioned before, part of our Gold Tongue Tie Symposium 2025. We get started really, really soon. We have on September 15th our live open access keynote presentation by Dr. Agarwal, and we hope you will all be there, and you can find more information how to sign up for the keynote, for the entire symposium, and find out more information on all the presentations. We invite you to go to goldtonguetie.com. And I hope to see everyone at the symposium. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye.